Look at us.
Look at us.
Just 2 peas in a pod.
Best friends forever.
Well, we'll see about that. Depends how your top 10 goes.
Yeah, that's right.
This top 10 is crap. I'm disowning you.
Well, if that's your prerogative. Makes sense to me. What's happening, party people? Welcome to Punch Board Party. My name is Daniel. This is Father Greg, and this is another top 10 board games of all time ever. And this time, it's mine.
Now, you've heard this before. We've done this twice now. We're back for round 3, just in case the first 2 times didn't get it.
Listen, these things change slightly, but we also get new party people coming on board, checking out our channel. And these games are worth talking about.
How many are new to your top 10?
Oh, that's a good question.
Okay.
2, maybe 3. I will say that this was a harder list to come up with than ever. So I did the whole Pub People thing for all the games that I've played, and that came up with a top 10 out of that. And then I re-shoved in the top 30. I just did it again just to make sure. Then I took the top 100 of the previous list, and then I put that through again. And then I did my own manual thing, and I went back to the previous list. Anyway.
You're a hot mess.
I'm a hot mess. And I kept on coming. Basically, my top 20 could be shifted around in all sorts of ways. And so there was a game that was on my top 10 that's now my 18.
Right.
So,
I understand you 100%.
But I think this final list is a good representation of my top. I can stand by this list and feel confident. So, without any further ado, I'll just get into it and you give me hell, okay?
Let's give it. Let's see what you got.
Number 10, my 10th favorite board game of all time, Bora.
Wow.
So we revisited Bora, so it was fresh on my mind. So as I was going through this, it kept on. And now again, Bora made it onto my top 10 last time. And so it's here again. But the reason why I love this game is the dice worker placement is simple and elegant and really robust. I love that it limits you while at the same time allows you to do some really cool things. So either you have full access to where you want to go, but your actions are very less powerful, or you can only go to a few places, but you can do big things there. Mm. So that's really cool. And the colors and the theming of these islands and the tattoos and the shells. Love me some tattoos and shells. It's classic point salad feld. Now that I'm kind of finding myself at home in a heavier Euro environment, this is really a nice place to kind of get familiar with that style of game. All of the different puzzles are really fun.
Right.
The area control dimension is really great. The activating of your man and woman tiles. So basically you can activate one man and one woman tile at the end of each round. But if you have the same tile multiple times, then you can activate all of them. So it can turn to a real big jackpot feeling. Mm-hmm. Like a little slot machine.
Right.
And move up that tattoo track or whatever. Mm-hmm. No, it's a really fun, solid game.
I'm always a little bit surprised by Bora because you're right. It is a solid game. The theme is sure, yeah, you're islanders, Maori, maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
Kind of in that style. Yeah, you got tattoos, you got shells. That's the game. That's at least where the theme stops. But you're right. There is a good game underneath for sure.
Yeah, really good game. You are doing strange things, but it's fun. Yeah, it's puzzly. All right, my 9th favorite game, and I'm still sad you haven't played this yet. Strasburg. So second failed on the list, and this time it made the list.
Okay.
Man, I just can't say. Here's the thing about Strasburg. Strasburg is on the list because it is fun. It's a little wonky. It's a little crazy. But this game is just really whimsical, I think is a really good word for it. Because the core mechanism of this game just satisfies me every time. Where you have this deck of cards, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, distributed 4 of each number or whatever. And you just, at the beginning of a round, you draw as many cards from your deck as you want. But your deck is limited. So you can approximately draw 4 or 5 cards per round, but you could draw 6 or 7 and be limited to 3 in later rounds. And so you just kind of draw cards as you see fit, and now you have a set of cards. You might have a couple 6s, you might have a couple 1s, and then you're going to use those to make bids bidding piles.
Okay.
And then once you establish those piles, you can't move them. But now you still have the flexibility of what bid you apply to certain things.
Okay.
And you're gonna be bidding for guild tokens and places to go on the board, and it's an area control puzzle where you have these scoring conditions that you draft at the beginning of the game. Well, not draft, you draw them at the beginning of the game, and you're kind of setting yourself up, trying to get close to certain places, surround certain things to get points, and it's fun.
Well, I like bidding games, so it's every time. I cannot tell you how many times Dan has tried to get me to play this game, and I have just avoided it. Well, every time I've been like, no.
I haven't tried in earnest. There was only one time that was actually a possibility, but it's a 3 to 5 player game, so when we record together like this, I would love to just pull it out and play it, but it won't quite work.
No, but yes, every time you've tried to get me to play as many times, I've thwarted you. I assume next year I'll still never play Strasburg.
That's right. That's right. Okay, my number 8. And this is the first of many from this design team on this top 10 list. This is the Voyages of Marco Polo.
Oh, Lord. Yep. All right. Go for it.
Tell me, what is wrong with the Voyages of Marco Polo? Tell me, what is wrong with this game?
Nothing is wrong with it except for extreme imbalance, but go for it. Other than that, this game is perfect. If it doesn't, it's just like it just hangers on like a teeter-totter, precariously, almost ready to die at any second.
But it doesn't die.
That's right. It's a great miracle. Sometimes.
All the time. So no, this is a classic Euro game, but it isn't tight by any means. When I first played this way back when, I thought it was like a tight calculating. Now that I've played it after playing much tighter, heavier Euro games, I realize it doesn't take itself too seriously. Here's the thing that I love about the Voyages of Marco Polo is that, again, that core dice worker placement mechanism is brilliant. Where you have 2 types of worker placement spaces. You have spaces where multiple people can go, but if you go there, then you're going to pay coin equal to the lowest dice value that you place on a space, but you're going to get better benefits for placing a higher dice as your lowest dice. So there's that tension. And then there's spaces on the board that are kind of randomly put out there that only 1 dice can go there. But typically you're going to get the reward of that space the number of times as pip on the dice that you place. So it just creates a myriad of options. For like when you sit down to play this game, you're playing a game about traveling the Silk Road, setting up trading posts, and exchanging goods for contracts. That's the game you're playing. You can just not do that and win this game. So I think that's where your lack of balance comes in, but I wouldn't call it a lack of balance.
I mean, so more so because of the players, like the different powers, are dramatic.
They are dramatic, but I think they're balanced relatively. The merchant, the one where you get extra goods when anybody else does the market action, is a little fuzzy.
A little strong, but yeah.
But I just love playing a game where I can look at the board state and I can say, oh, if I set up a trade post there, and then if I just kind of collect goods at the market and really go hard on that one space, like roll 6s and put a 6 there and just cash gold and camels in, I could probably do pretty good. That's neat. And that might turn people off. That you can just not do what the game does. Like one of the powers, for instance, is like that, where the game is rolling dice at the beginning of the round and then placing your dice out on the board. But there's a power that's just like, no.
Yep, I had the guy last time. Yep.
Your dice can be whatever you want.
That's right.
So it's interesting in that way, but I really like that it just shows you multiple paths to victory, and you can reasonably take any of those paths and do quite well in this game.
I think what I dislike about this game and what I love about it is the same thing, which is like the kind of like the innovation of it or the feel of it, which is that yes, it's like you're entering onto a wooden roller coaster, like it's rickety and it's going at top speed and it's like it's crazy. That's what's good about it. It's also what's bad about it. It's it's like you got these crazy player powers that when you explain after you explain the rules, then you explain half of the rules are about placing your dice, and then you just go just forget that whole first half that I talked about. You do whatever you want. Okay. like, okay, that sounds cool.
Yeah.
It also sounds super weird. And it is. And that's where this game ends up as me. Is like, cool, but super weird.
But it just gives me that classic Euro feel. Okay, my number 7 now. This is within the top 10. This is a bit of a fall. This is Dogs of War.
Wow.
Yeah, so this is usually my 2-3 slot.
Yeah.
But 7.
Okay.
And the main reason for that is just multiple plays over the last couple years have gone to show that this game can... It really depends highly on the players you're playing with. Because basically, you pit these houses against each other in these 3 battles over the course of like 5 different rounds. And I played one game where the same houses, not the exact same 2, but like the same houses always ended up on the same sides of the battles.
Right.
So there were 3 houses that were constantly getting beaten down,
Right.
and 3 houses that were constantly being invested in. And so the people who kind of were investing in the houses that kept on losing just kept losing. And so there was a little bit of imbalance there, where just the luck of the draw kind of made it that way. So that was weird. This game it feels bad to lose at this game.
Right.
It feels bad to lose at this game, because really what you're doing in Dogs of War is... You're investing a lot of your resources into these soldier cards that you're going to be placing onto battle tracks, that you're going to be moving kind of a token in a tug-of-war style towards the house that you're wanting to support, in the hopes of moving that house's banner up a track that will times the number of shields that represent that house by the number of victory points on that track. And then you're going to score a bunch of points at the end of the game. But you can also score victory points during the game just by placing one of your agents, one of your mercenaries or whatever, onto a space that just gives you victory points. So it's a worker placement game where you can just get stuff by where you place your workers, but also where you place your workers is going to determine what house you're going to support. So there's some really interesting decisions to be made because of that. But it also means that you're investing and you're working towards something, and then another player just does it better than you. They just are able to buy the war machine that you weren't able to buy. Right. Or you forgot that they had the war machine. And you have that battle won, and they just slide it back across to the other side. And you don't get the benefits of the rewards for winning that battle, and your shields aren't going to be worth any more points than they were before. Right. And so yeah, it's like a high risk, high reward kind of game where it can feel a little, there's a defeatism that can linger.
I hear that.
But so that came through a little bit. But I don't know, man. You tell me. We got 5 players looking to play a game, and we need something to play with them with. And Dogs of War, man, like I can't think of anything that has had the highest highs. This is the high, some low lows, but like the highest highs of the game. Whew.
It's interesting in a game like that, because a lot of times there is a kind of okay, everyone, go after the guy who's winning.
Yeah.
You know, like you kind of, the game balances itself by who's at the table.
Right.
But when I'm trying to attack you, but I don't really care about the other house that you're fighting. Yeah. And so it's like, I know you're winning, and I know I should be trying to take wars away from you, but I don't care about that house. Like, they're nothing to me. Why do I want to support them? So it's like, it's an interesting, a lot of the games that have that kind of, no, you balance the game. We're not going to do that. That's your job.
Right.
This is kind of not in that category. And I think that's maybe what lends itself to that, like, swinginess.
Yes.
In terms of results. But
that's right. But still excellent. Yeah. Why am I being so critical tonight of my own games? I love these games. And you should too.
Yeah, do what you like.
Number 6, It's a Wonderful World.
Nice.
So again, this is usually high, but there's a couple of things that just got really high on this list. But It's a Wonderful World is just the best card drafting game I've ever played, and the best engine building game I've ever played. Simple engine building game, I should say. You want that thrill of creating an engine that will get you enough resources to build the things that you want to build, that will get you the outcome that you want to get to, and you're always kind of riding that lightning bolt of, I think this is going to produce me the stuff I want, I think this is going to get me to my goals, but I'm not exactly sure if I've bitten off more than I can chew here or not with the constructions that I've kind of started. Oh, it's just delightful. And just that simple pick a card, pass it along your hand, hope that you see that hand come back with the stuff that you wanted again, and thinking something about a card drafting game that's just so delightful for me is you see a bunch of stuff and you're like, I don't know which way to go here. Oh, I want 3 of these cards. Okay, I'll take this one. And then you get another hand of cards. You're like, these are even better than the ones I just had.
That's right.
Like, oh, it's just such a feel-good.
Or yeah, you're looking for blue, and there's no blue at the table at all.
Yeah, that's right.
The whole hand goes around. You're like, I just need a blue card. I just need any blue card.
Yeah, that's right.
No blue cards. The whole hand. Yeah. Okay,
fine. All right. I guess not. Sure.
But yeah, no, it is good.
No, so good, so good.
I approve.
Well, thank you for that. My number 5 is yet another game you have not played. Tzolkin.
Oh gosh.
Tzolkin
made number 5.
Number 5.
Wow.
Oh man. So okay, talk about a solid Euro game. Again, Daniele Ticini.
Yep.
Luciani. Same design team as Voyages of Marco Polo. This is better. I mean, hence why it's higher on the list.
Wow.
But this brings in that tightness of the Euro game that I was referring to before. This brings in that you got to really have your wits about you in this game. Core conceit in this game is either you're going to place workers out onto the spinning cogs on the board, or you're going to take workers off. And depending on where your worker is on a particular wheel, you're going to get a better and better reward the longer you leave them out there. But the thing is like, you place a worker out, the wheels turn, you place another worker out, the wheels turn. Eventually, you're out of workers to place, and so you have to pull one back. But they maybe didn't get as far as you want them to go. But the cool thing is when you pull workers back, you can pull multiple workers back. So you either place one worker, or you pull as many workers back as you want. But then if they go past the rewards, then you're getting nothing for them. So you can't leave them on the cogs too long. But there's a whole thing here about at a certain point in the game you have to feed your workers. And so there's these
feed mechanic.
That's right. You got to get these tech tiles that automatically feed like half of your workers and stuff. So there's just some really great interactions. The core mechanism is brilliant. And then on top of that, you have technology tiles that you add to have ongoing benefits as you go to really kind of, again, build your engine, so that you're ready to accomplish what you need to be accomplishing in your game. And then you're competing for spaces. You're like, oh, I really want to go that space. And there's some just really cool interactions in this game that make for just a really crunchy, lovely Euro experience. And there's moving up tracks. There's temple tracks that you're going to be moving up, and you're going to get more points for being ahead of other players. And when you cross certain thresholds, you'll get points or boosts up on other temple tracks. And I love me a good little track pusher, so
sure,
it's special. It's a special game.
Cool. I'm anxious. I've played almost all of the other T-Series games except for Tzolkin. So.
That's right. And it's the unofficial
right
T-Series. It's the grandfather or whatever.
Right.
My number 4. This might be a little surprising. Dune Imperium.
Little surprise. I'm gonna fall out of my chair. What happened?
So again, I think Uprising happened.
Okay.
Uprising.
Is Uprising coming up later on your list?
No.
Okay.
No. That's not what I mean. I just mean that adding Uprising to my play experiences of Dune Imperium, even though it's not the same, sort of put a weird taste in my mouth for Dune Imperium. I still love Dune Imperium more than Uprising, but that being said, it's not so different that it doesn't have a factor in how I think of it. But that's besides why. I'm no longer going to talk about why things are less. I'm not here to criticize games. I'm here to tell you how amazing.
No, please tell us how shit your list is. Please.
Dune Imperium is the perfect combination of worker placement and deck building. It does it the best. It is so good in that department. And the deck building is true deck building. Something like Lost Ruins of Arnak, the deck building is something that you can do, or you feel like you sort of like do as a side effect of things. Whereas you played a game of Dune Imperium this year that you just straight up deck building.
Yeah.
You were just like, you played a province strategy.
That's right.
From Dominion in Dune Imperium. And you competed.
Right.
Well, so this is just like the deck building comes through just so clear, and you can have a lot of fun with constructing your deck in the way that you want it. And then at the same time, the conflict is really at the heart of this game and creates so much tension for progressing in the game because points are so valuable. You're racing to 10 points. And so when a conflict is worth 2 points, that matters. And so you're kind of biding your time. And then you're really kind of sitting on that big highliner move where you can move a bunch of troops into the conflict.
Right.
And then someone does that move before you do. And so now you got to like frantically look around the board and see where you can place your agents. And then you realize that you don't have a card that's going to allow you to send your agents to the other space that's going to put a lot of troops in the conflict. And so then you got to kind of work around that and figure something else out. And I love Dune Imperium.
Right.
It's so good. I've been surrounded by people that have kind of been like, about it. So it's been a little harder to keep my... But I am sticking by it tonight, man.
You are.
Dune Imperium.
Stick by your guns. Don't let us bully you.
Don't bully me.
Don't let us tell you it's not a great game. Don't let us tell you it's weak. It has multiple flaws. Don't let us tell you any of these things about this game. No, it's
and I won't. It's so good. It's so good. And again, tracks.
Who doesn't love tracks?
Here we are, top 3.
So you're telling me this is where the games get passably good. At this point, these are the games. Everything that Dennis said before, you don't have to buy. But these are the games. These 3 you should seriously consider. No, the other ones are garbage. But
my top 10 is awesome through and through. These are amazing games. Amazing games. Number 3, Elysium.
Okay.
Yeah, just so good.
Yep.
Like, again, Elysium is hard to find. It's out of print. It didn't get expansion content. Yada, yada, yada. But if you're looking for... I guess this is the best card drafting game, now that I think about it.
Sure.
But it does card drafting uniquely.
Very, very differently.
Differently. So good. Like, card combos up the wazoo. You get cards into your tableau, and they're doing all sorts of abilities for you. They're giving you special benefits. And then all of a sudden, you have to choose to move them down into your Elysium. And now you're going to lose the benefits, but now you're going to be able to score points. And you're creating sets. You know what? Nothing wrong with having a good set collection game in your collection. In your own set collection.
Yeah.
And this just... And the different factions that you can... Only recently, in the last year or so... to actually start playing with all the different factions in the box instead of the recommended setup.
That shocks me.
And there's so much fun. Like each faction kind of has its thing. Like one is lots of victory points, and one's kind of enemy attacking your opponents, and one's money, and one's and to really kind of get into a flow of in this game. I'm going to be using all the factions for points and stuff, but I'm really going to lean on these guys to really kind of push my strategy. So it really started Ares, which is the military faction, where you get these prestige points. And so they're not victory points, but if you have the majority of them at the end of the game, then you can score some really big points from them. And so they just do things like when you play this when you move this into the Elysium, gain a prestige point. And so again, it creates that kind of Seven Wonders style race with the military conflict. Seven Wonders did something beautiful for the hobby, and these games like It's a Wonderful World and Elysium has just perfected that system in different ways, but I'll always prefer these games to that. And the 2-player variant that you can find on Board Game Geek for Elysium has definitely salvaged this game for me. Okay, so these are 2 brand new games to the list.
Wow, your top 2 are 2 top. Brand new.
Because they're so good.
I know one of them, but I don't know what the other one is.
Number 2 is Age of Innovation.
Wow, yep, that makes sense.
So here's the thing about Age of Innovation, is that this is a lifestyle game. This is one of those games, like Terraforming Mars, like Ark Nova, where if you wanted to, if this was your style of play, you could just play this game every time you were playing games. You could just plop this down on the table, and there's just so much to explore within the game. So many paths to victory, so many strategies to follow. Just the mixture of races to player powers of your starting ability in terms of how you now are going to play the game, to the technologies that you purchase that change up how you play the game, what you get bonuses for, to different scoring conditions that you unlock, to it's just variability of the game. And it is big and it is chunky, and we're talking about a long play time, and we're talking about your brain being fried. Like, you are just, like, working your brain out this whole time, but you're never bored. And there's something satisfying about sitting down at the table for a game of Age of Innovation and looking at this kind of clear board with just a couple of settlements built out as the starting point, and then knowing that that's going to get filled up, and knowing that people are going to encroach into your territory. And there's just this sense of adventure. Like, there's this sense of, like, I'm going to build something during this game. And yeah, it's going to take a long time, but I'm going to be invested the entire time to make these things work. And there's so many interlocking mechanisms. And again, it's just, if you love Terra Mystica, this just does everything Terra Mystica does well, and then just embellishes it and makes it all that much better. So Age of Innovation is just so good.
I remember the days when Terra Mystica was on your top 10.
Yeah.
I think it was even before this channel was started.
That's
but
right.
I remember those days. And so this doesn't entirely surprise me, even though I think you've made a horrible decision.
Come on.
I've never played
so
it.
Good.
Never played
so
this.
good.
I've never played Terra Mystica.
Yeah, no. Like, we got it. Again, it's kind of one of those things where it's like, gladly, but it's 11:30 at night, so we're not doing that.
Number one. This is a new game.
This is a new game.
A new game.
Number one board game of all time ever is Toledo.
Wow. Look at you, man.
Man, there's something special about Toledo. Like, here's the deal. I don't love these guys apart nearly as much as I love them together.
That's right.
Like, but when they get together, they just really hit the sweet spot for me. Toledo is like just a gift. It just gives. It's the gift that keeps on giving. It's just like, you want resources? Sure, take a bunch of resources. You want action? Sure. You want to do something a lot? Great. You want a lot of something? Great. You want to get that, but you can't quite do that? Just pay a couple gold, and now you can do that. Just do what you want. Just do it better than the other players. Whew. Fun. So fun.
It is.
Like, you just, you have so many things you can be working towards. You can be buying up contracts for victory points. You can be moving your architect around the board, building pillars so that now you can contribute resources to building cathedrals, which are big points. You can bring your wagon all the way around that map. You can get to fair locations so that you can score those end-of-round scoring conditions. There's just like a myriad. You can fill your houses with people.
That's right.
And match them up and unlock these other bonuses. That are
Give
like
them
these
flags
big
and,
bonuses. These crests that you can score points for. And you can do so many different things. This is like a unique situation where most Euro games, it's going to be like do a lot of everything or do like one or two things well. This is like do half of the things well.
Right.
Which is like an interesting kind of take on the thing. It's like, no, you don't have to do everything, but you have to do more than one or two things.
Right.
And it allows you the flexibility to do that. And so, again, a game with a core mechanism where I just pick a die. That die is going to have a number of pips on it. It's going to have a color. That color is going to correspond to a resource. I'm going to take the number of the resource as die pips, and then I'm going to do an action, the inverse of that die number. So if it's a 6, I'm going to do that action 1, power of 1.
Right. But you got 6 bowls
But I got 6
gruel.
bowls of gruel.
It's like porridge or something.
Yeah, that's
I don't know,
right. Which is really amazing.
Right.
Tastiest gruel I ever did
That's
taste. Oh, yeah.
Good choice. For a number one, this is a good
That's right.
a good choice. Surprising a little bit, but
Yeah, but it just won my heart over, and I have been becoming a heavier gamer.
for sure, it's been enjoying to see you grow into that. No.
And so this is just gonna happen. But there's still like my list is full of games that have been with me for a long time that I am not ready to part with yet.
As it should be. You shouldn't.
But again, it's tending towards the heavier, and I'm not mad about it. So there we have it, party people. Those are my top 10 board games of all time ever. Please let me know what you thought about.
Until next year. When you
Until
decide.
next year, till
when to let him fall till 12 or something.
That's right. But you let me know what you thought about this list. And please recommend any games to me that you think that I should try out based on my list. And Father Greg, what's your ultimate consensus of my top 10 list? What are you thinking about this?
A. Solid A.
Nice! The approval.
Not A plus, but you know.
The approval.
Solid A.
Good. It's a good list,
It is
I
good.
think. I'd be happy. I'd be happy to play all these games on this list, obviously.
Right.
But I'd be happy to make other people play all the games on this list. And I'd be confident that they would have a good time with these games. So, party people, if you like this video, please press the like button. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And until next time, party people.
Have the best day.